welcome to this special screening of Son of a Lion. Can I please introduce the filmmaker Benjamin Gilmour?
I wasn't a filmmaker as of a few years ago. I was working as a paramedic in Sydney and needed a bit of a change. So I decided to go to Pakistan and to try my hand at filmmaking. I was hit and miss, and it was a very trying environment to make a film in.
Well, I know you'll enjoy the film. We'll get to talk to you in the Q&A. See you then. Filmed in the northwest Pakistan towns of Kohat and Dara Adam Kurl, and in the native language of Pashto. Son of a Lion tells the story of 11-year-old Niaz. Niaz doesn't want to follow in the footsteps of his father, a weapons maker. He dreams of going to school, just as his mother had wanted. But Niaz's father, Shah Alam, a former Mujahideen fighter, wants his son to toughen up. The family debate soon widens to the local community. Aiming to combat post-9/11 Islamophobia, Australian first-time filmmaker Benjamin Gilmour co-wrote the film with the community. And using non-actors, they filmed in secret.
Lara?
We understand that this area has harboured Al-Qaeda, so they say, and the Taliban. So this is an area that since 9/11 has been incredibly controversial and feared by the West. I think I can safely say that, can't I?
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the reasons that I was inspired to make the film, was because I was in this particular Pashtun heartland in the tribal areas a month before 9/11, experiencing the incredible hospitality and generosity of these people. So when the events of 9/11 happened, and I started to read the paper, and the Pashtun profile was basically that of a terrorist. I was really disturbed by that, and so I wanted to go and find out whether I was wrong.
And you had to go incognito, didn't you?
Yes, well, I grew a beard naturally, and I wore traditional costume, the Pashtun costume, the shalwar kameez, and a turban or pakal hat. In addition to that, my local contacts there taught me a little bit about how to behave like a Pashtun, how to walk like a Pashtun, kind of a bit rough, But the reason why it was shot undercover was because journalists are not allowed into the tribal areas, even journalists from other parts of Pakistan. There are various sinister forces at play trying to prevent the reality of what's going on reaching the outside world.
How did you find these people?
We used to just drive around picking up characters in the car. I couldn't put up advertisements in the local paper to audition. It was done in secret. I think the most interesting point about the casting was the father character, Shah Alam. He's got a history of being a Mujahideen militant. So when he describes this story to Niaz, using a Pepsi bottle, this was actually a story he told me one night as we sat around drinking tea.
Some of that dialogue was amazing. When you watched it and the men were discussing what would you do with Osama bin Laden?
الله دې دوره مو فتور کی نو د ملک
خیر دا واجی تا خبر نه دا خلم کنه چې خبره تا ته هر یو شي $1 کې.
None of those dialogues were fed to them. The whole idea was to give them a platform to express what they feel. They're in a very difficult position at the moment, the Pashtuns. 90% of them, plus are peace-loving, moderate thinking Muslims who are struggling with the position they're in, stuck between, the extremists and the Pakistani military.
Since the actors weren't actors, was it easy to get those authentic acting scenes out of them?
I got them to play themselves and just be really natural and to pretend the camera wasn't there. Sherilam, for example, the father character, had only ever seen one film in his entire life, Rambo 3. He saw it shot in Afghanistan and he was played the film later on and was very impressed.
What does this one?
It's a blue light.
What does it do?
Turns blue.
So, if the only film you've ever seen is Rambo 3, then maybe your performances will be, a lot more natural.
What was your most memorable moment while filming?
I think the word rap was the most memorable word, Sometimes it'd take a week before we could say the word rap even once because it would, we were confined to a compound, the security situation was too risky on a day, we couldn't go out. So you'll notice that there's very few exterior shots. You'll notice where the uncle picks Niaz up in the bazaar. The bazaar shot is from a high-up window. The next shot's from inside the back seat of the car. That was purely to avoid being in the street with the camera.
Just curious how much it cost to make the film.
The actual cost of making the production was less than 20,000 Australian dollars. And of course the post-production was $500,000 because, being an unprofessional filmmaker, my footage was quite rough. So I needed a lot of help in the editing room in making it look good.
We've had a lot of indie filmmakers on this show and we've heard small budgets, but this takes the cake. That's phenomenal.
The reason why it didn't cost me much money was because the Pashtun people accommodated me. They facilitated everything I needed. If I said to them, look, I need a bus full of locals to go up and down that mountain a couple of times, no problem. Within an hour, they'd arranged it. And all of this free of charge, They didn't want any money from me. Your success will be our success, they said, because they don't have a voice. They want the world to know about what's going on there. So that was enough for them. It was enough incentive.
Could we please thank the filmmaker here? This is Benjamin Gilmour, son of a lion.
Thank you, everybody.
تاسو خیال دی چې د امریکا به د افغانستان جوړ کی اوس
امریکا وران کړی دی نو جوړی به خود کنه
From the story of a young man who has few options in life to a young woman who's on a whale of a ride. At 18, Keisha Castle-Hughes has already ticked many of the boxes that most actors dream of.
Keisha Castle-Hughes was just 11 years old when she was plucked from a classroom in rural New Zealand to play the lead role of Paikea in Whale Rider.
I wasn't scared to die.
I think that's my name for the rest of my life. The Whale Rider girl who rode the whale. It's like, but it's pretty close with the Bro Town, Piao Piao.
You can call me later, Piao Piao. I love you, Keisha.
My auntie just died.
I get that quite a lot.
The film was an overnight worldwide success. It made Keisha a household name and the youngest ever nominee for a Best Actress Oscar.
I feel like I've lived a lot longer than, in years. I mean, I've been through a lot and had a lot of kind of very surreal experiences and very strange experiences. I'm very happy with where I am right now, though.
Keisha, who is of Maori descent, didn't win, but she was inundated with offers. She turned most of them down, but she just couldn't refuse becoming the Queen of Naboo in Star Wars 3. She took on the controversial leading role of the Virgin Mary in The Nativity Story.
He is for all mankind.
And in a classic case of life imitating art, 17-year-old Keisha announced she was pregnant shortly after filming finished.
Family's the most important thing to me at the moment. I took a year off my year of retirement, semi-retirement, I call it. But it's kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of, I want to make films that have stories, and they never have any money. So it's that thing that all the scripts that already have money, they're not really films that I want to make. And then I always want to make these films that have no money and it takes a long time to develop them. I've been given the opportunity to do something that I really love, and I don't see any need to rush. I'm really young. I can hold this out as a career for a long time.
Why do you always watch us? I don't. I know it's you.
Her latest film is an Australian coming-of-age comedy. Hey, hey, it's Esther Blueberger.
It's an experiment. She changed schools in secret.
Aren't you going to get in a lot of trouble when they find out?
I first read the script when I was 13, and straight away I wanted to be a part of it. It's probably one of two scripts in my life that immediately I was desperate to be a part of it. When I read it, I was going through similar experiences, emotions just really heightened.
Everyone knows that you're a spy. You're a legend.
The film is about 13-year-old Esther, a feisty outsider, trying to find a way to fit in.
I used to spend every single lunchtime in a classroom by myself. Now everyone thinks I'm really cool.
Keisha plays Sunny, the effortlessly cool wild child who befriends her.
How do you know Esther?
Our parents are friends.
Then what do they do?
They deal drugs.
The film has put Keisha back on the publicity trail.
Keisha, please, Keisha.
And it seems her absence from the big screen hasn't done anything to lessen her popularity.
There's so many things I want to do. I don't believe that you have to choose one thing for your life. I guess I'm an actress, but at the same time I still want to be, my new thing on my list is I want to be a politician.
Well, if Keisha does end up swapping acting for the shark-infested sea of politics, you have to like this whale rider's chances.
Well, that's it for this fabulous picture show. Hope you enjoyed the show, and thank you so much, you hardcore filmmaker, you.
Thanks, Amanda. It's all good fun.
It was good fun. The audience really enjoyed the film, and I couldn't believe how many questions
great
there
audience.
were. They never stopped, did they?
Hats off to them.
Well, we hope that this means that you will make another film.
I hope so too. If they give me another chance.
Yeah, but be safe, would you? Take it easy.
I think I might in the next one.
Yeah, good. All right. Hope you join us on the next fabulous picture show. See you then.
Niyazda pata ta pegambar se super maili. Ilam bare ki chintam tlul pakar vinu to chintam tle shelam da para. Tupo ka taman chuna se judegi.
How would you rate the film out of 10 and why?
I would rate it at 10. It was just very powerful and it made me cry.
Considering that it was one camera, it was and all undercover and covert, it was really good. Yeah.
It really showed me a Pakistan that I didn't expect.